Hi, Misha here, and as promised, we're back with a little more on this gun. But let's first just run a couple of rounds through it at the range.
SA-93.
So, for comparison, we'll take the Arsenal SA-93 here, and just look briefly again at something I just really can't help but drag out way too often, I know. This is the SLR100H, or
Bulgarian AK47.
The first time we looked at the SA-93, we compared it to a modern Arsenal, the SAM7R, which is an import, just as this one. And it's a modernized AK, whereas the SLR100, since it's built from a Hungarian AK-55 or AK-47 Type 3 kit, is an example of a 1950s original milled gun. So it's going to have pretty much all original features, including a machined receiver. Now, I've really talked already about the history of the SA-93 in the first video, including how to convert it, what goes into it. But one thing that has been done since that video is we've got this rear sling swivel installed. This was kind of the final step in getting it where it needed to be. For what it's worth, this is an actual Bulgarian sling swivel, too. I thought about putting the leather sling on it, but I decided to go a little more modern with the green canvas. Why not? And all you really have to do is machine a small slot in the side of the receiver, put that in, and then just, it has little wings, essentially, that fold out. And it locks on very securely. In the 1980s, Circle 10, what we know today as Arsenal AD of Bulgaria, wasn't doing semi-auto guns, but they were doing modernized AK Type 3s, which would go to pressed and pinned in versus threaded barrels, and the blued finish would be switched to a paint over phosphate, which was both cheaper and faster to apply, and also more durable and rust resistant than just bluing. They would also have a more modern style takedown here with kind of a lip on it, and they would use some stamped parts like the mag catch. While still a lot of guns would have wood furniture, and of course modern guns have the black furniture, in between we have what's so-called Bulgarian Bakelite. Now the handguards, upper and lower, are actually made out of that AG4 material, the same stuff as mini magazines. But the stock and pistol grip are this salmon or pink, almost pink color. Pretty soft material, which is, I assume, a form of plastic, but frankly I never really had a name for it. The buttstock in particular is very interesting. It's one solid piece. Even the butt plate here is just part of it. You see the ribbing, there's no butt plate as such. It's just one chunk. And this is the interim step that Arsenal would do between the wood and the modern polymer furniture. And that's why I decided to set this SA-93 up this way. Because of its pinned barrel and later features and finish, it would be much more time consuming to make it into an authentic T3 clone like this up here. So I thought it was better to go to like a late 80s, early 90s clone. That's why it's got the slant brake on it, even though it has the Type 1 bayonet lug still, and the ported gas tube. And of course here is that the 100, the AK47 build. It has the muzzle nut, the Type 1 bayonet lug, bayonet, wood handguards. Now this was a parts kit built here on a Bulgarian receiver, so it is press and pin. It has a phosphated finish, but it does have the machined mag release, mag catch. Has the checkered pistol grip, traditional wood stock, and the original pattern of takedown here. Just to give you an idea. Anyway, as I said, Bulgaria was not producing a semi-auto Kalashnikov in the 80s under communism. However, very quickly after the fall of communism, they introduced a semi-automatic version, the SA-93. Essentially standing for a semi-automatic rifle of 1993. Now, interestingly, they would not use this nomenclature for very long. Very, very soon, only within a couple of years, they would split the product line up into the SAR series, which were essentially semi-automatic rifles, but with military features. And the SLR line, which were more sporting, civilian-friendly style semi-automatic rifles. And this is where the SLR95, SLR96, and eventually SLR101 stem from. Now the SA-93 here very, very much predates Arsenal Incorporated of Las Vegas. At this time, when these started to come in around 1994, you had Sentinel, Dunav, Dunav, D-U-N-A-V. There you go. Those were two importers. And you also had Dominion Investment Group. And later, after some kind of unfortunate activity, not activities, but one of the owners died of Dominion, so the remaining company would partner with Intrac. This would, of course, lead to the SLR95, which was, to my knowledge, only imported by Dominion Intrac. But I could be wrong on that. But that's the only ones I've ever seen. Both the SA-93 and SLR95 were able to take high capacity or standard capacity magazines and were imported with thumbhole stocks and were otherwise neutered to comply with U.S. import regulations. There was also the SLR96, before anyone says anything in the comments, But these come in very limited numbers, but they were basically the same gun here with the heavier AK Type 3 profile barrel and 45-degree gas block. Well, in 1998, we had a new player come on the scene. Well, actually 97, but they officially got started in 98. This was Arsenal USA. Not Arsenal USA that you were probably thinking of, Arsenal Incorporated. No, a different company out of Texas. Originally, they were going to import complete guns, but the government got in the way. In late 97, the White House kind of ordered a re-examination of import regs. 98, it came back that the ability to take high-cap mags was not okay. So originally, Arsenal USA was going to import a 5.56 rifle, pretty much the SLR100H, but in 5.56, known as the SLR100. Well, after this ruling, they did not think it was feasible. So what they did was they imported Virgin receivers marked SLR100, and they would build them up using Virgin Bulgarian ARM-1 type parts kits as the SSR-99. And this would be partnered, Arsenal USA would partner with Gordon Technologies, Gordon Tech GT. And yes, there is the SSR-99P, which was also built on SLR100 receivers, but using surplus, but in very nice condition, Polish WZ 1960 parts kits. And that appears in several of my videos as well. And finally, there was the K101, which was actually chambered for 5.56 NATO 223, whereas the previous ones had been 7.62 because of the changes. Well, Arsenal USA had a falling out first with Gordon Tech, and then later Arsenal in Bulgaria, and they would change their name eventually to Armory USA in 2004. In 1999, the company we know and love, Arsenal Incorporated out of Las Vegas, would get up and running, and their first import would be the SLR101S. Or I should say 101 and then the 101S model. But this was essentially a single-stack version of the SLR-95, again in 7.62x39. And Arsenal Incorporated would import this for a couple of years, ending around 2001-2002, when they would switch over, much like Arsenal USA had done, they would switch over to building guns using Virgin receivers in the US using Virgin Bulgarian parts kits. Confused yet? Well, there's one more event, and that's where this gun kind of comes onto the scene. And I'm just kind of doing a synopsis, because these are things that have been in other videos, but I wanted to give the SA-93 a bit more context. Why not? So, talked about the SLR100 receivers that were coming in, and also remember there was Intrek, partnered with Dominion early on. Well, after the falling out between Arsenal USA and Arsenal Bulgaria, Intrek stepped in and brought over the SLR100 receivers. And it's kind of funny, just as a footnote, to finish up a few projects, actually Arsenal USA bought some SLR100 receivers from Intrek. Well, the gun here is from a 2001 project. Intrek had also acquired many Hungarian AK-47 parts kits. This was long before the barrel ban, guys, so back then a parts kit was actually a complete gun, less receiver. Even then, you usually had the receiver stubs. And they wanted to build them up and sell them. So, as I've said before, they basically had 4 companies under a limited contract to make 600 guns each, and then they would look at the guns, the product, and then award the full contract to the winner. Of course, Gordon Tech, who was the winner, was one. Blue Ridge, who, although they didn't win, actually made about 1,500 guns, ultimately buying more SLR100 receivers. MSC, which is who made this gun, and incidentally, who was already out of business by 2003, and Ohio Ordnance Works, who is more known for their 1919 builds. So yeah, Gordon Tech won, and a lot of Hungarian kits were built up on these Bulgarian receivers. While these guns, either the Polish builds or the Hungarians, and even quite a few of these receivers were used to build up Bulgarian traditional wood stock kits, are of very good quality. At least most of them. They are U.S. parts guns. Now compare that to the SA-93, which was a true blue import. Now it was neutered for import, unfortunately, but that does not take away from the fact that it is a true import and the first Bulgarian import. There are no pre-ban Bulgarians. This is as close as you get. And these actually only came into the country for about 2 years. And I have never been able to find anything like a number. So, apologies for that. And again, these were never brought over by Arsenal Las Vegas. They were gone long before that company came into existence. Although, as I said in video 1, if you look at the newer imports, like the SAM-7R, really the guns themselves, although the features are different, the authenticity, basically how Bulgarian they are, is the same. But for more on that, check that video out. These SA-93s are known for being very nice shooters. They are, of course, very accurate for what they are. I mean, they're AKs, so keep that in mind. Very solid, very well machined. The bolt is very smooth. Trigger is nice. I mean, it's a double hook trigger. It's about as good as any of the other Bulgarians. Barrels, of course, cold hammer forged, chrome lined. Actually, Arsenal, Bulgaria, acquired Steyr type tooling. And it is a true milled receiver. It's not an investment casting that's been kind of masqueraded as a milled receiver. And of course, these came in before the government had decided that high capacity magazine capability was not good, so they did come in with opened up standard mag wells. They did not have to be modified here. And that's probably the biggest difference between this and a SAM-7R. Their magazine wells do have to be modified. However, these guns come in with the lower tang cutoff. So to have regular stock, you have to put on a tang, so that has to be modified. So in one way or another, something has to be modified. And as I said in video 1, if you wanted the front end, you had to replace the front sight and the gas block to make that happen. But yeah, both are very nice guns, and believe it or not, even though the quality is very good, neither of these go for crazy money today. You can usually pick up unmodified SA-93s for $1,000 with a bit of looking. And converted ones, $1,200, $1,300. And the SLR100s are about the same. I'd say they're about $1,200 to $1,400, but also remember there's no conversion. With these, the most you might have to do is break the tack weld on a muzzle nut, because again, these were made during the assault weapons ban. So, they could not have evil features. Well, alrighty folks, I appreciate you tuning in. Any questions or comments, or if you own either of these guns, we'd love to hear about yours below. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, do please check out the link to our Patreon page. I'm sure I'll do a third part as I can think of something to, ramble about, kind of an excuse. But yeah, now that my SA-93 is complete, now that it has the sling on it, I am best pleased, and it, of course, was unexpectedly, I should say, not unexpectedly, a very nice shooter. Well, this is Misha. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will catch you very soon next time.